So our next moderator has been with us since about that time, about 2012. Dr. Ted Vicky is the founder and CEO of Fitwell, a fitness and wellness disrupted health technology company serving clients around the world. In addition, Ted is a senior advisor of emerging technologies at the American Council on Exercise and professor of kinesiology at Point Loma University. He's referred to as one of the most connected men in fitness. Vicky serves as executive director of the White House Athletic Center under 3 presidents, not the current. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Ted Vicky.
Hello. I want to bring out our panelists. We have, I think, a very interesting topic for us today, and that is from within the health and fitness space, and where we as an industry are going when it comes to technology. I work with a lot of personal trainers and health coaches, and one of the things I'm often asked is, will technology replace a personal trainer? And my reply is twofold. First, if a piece of technology does replace you, you probably aren't doing what you need to do. But second, there's a word before trainer, and that's personal. So I view technology as a tool, just like a dumbbell, just like a treadmill, that a trainer can use to help a person along their path to better health. So I'd like to introduce my group. I'll start here. Name of your company, and your 1-minute elevator speech about what you do.
Okay. My name is Artem Shepitsyn. I represent company Healbe. We are only one device in the world who can track intake calories automatically, hydration, and stress level. Thank you.
My name is Sharad. My company is called Trainerize. We're on a mission to make fitness accessible. And what that means is we believe there can be a world where personal trainers are a part of everyone's lives. And we do it by connecting coaches to people through technology.
My name is Corey Williams. I'm with Vivomi, and we are based out of Seattle, Washington. We develop high-quality health analysis wearables, the goal being to capture the highest quality data that we may then infer the best accurate results.
Hi, I'm Jim Malika. I head up consumer engagement for Under Armour, where we're focused on making all athletes better through great performance gear and digital experiences.
Now, I've always wanted to do this. I'm a data geek. I have a Fitbit watch on. I have the Healbe watch on. I have the
Pulse,
the Pulse on now, and it's going to my Trainerize account that's being shared to my MyFitnessPal. So I'm going to see if my heart rate's doing okay here, but I want to start with you first, Artem. So I put this on about noon, and it says that my intake since then was 342 calories. I had a bag of pretzels for lunch, and I burned 300 calories, which makes sense. I was in the back live tweeting. So tell us how you are getting that information about the intake of food. The other stuff seems pretty simple, right? But like you said, you're the first to do it with tracking like that.
Okay, I try to do it in a simple way. What we are doing in our device, we track the movements of fluids inside cells and outside cells. When we eat something, sugar needs to come to the cell to give us energy, water coming out. And we track this process every time, and based on this data, we recalculate it to the amount of calories. So it's simply it sounds like this.
Now, I noticed that there was a little bit of a delay from when I ate to when it started to show up. So I assume it takes a while for the food to digest and go through the blood system and all that.
It is maybe one of the key crucial it's like difficulties to understand, because every time when you eat something, you expect immediate effect.
Yeah.
So calories start increasing. But in reality, our body differs from each other.
Right.
Depending on your sleep, your stress, depending on physical activity at previous time, depending on what you ate at previous time, it will look different. So, for example, if you eat something simple like, I don't know, Coca-Cola, after 10 minutes you will see the spike. If you eat something like steak, it needs from 1-2 hours up to 10 hours to digest everything what you ate during your meal.
That's fantastic. I'll keep an eye on that, and we'll see how I do. I want to ask Sharad, you know, there are numbers out now that say that only about 20% of Americans belong to a health club. Your app is kind of bringing the health club to the user, to the client, through personal training and even online personal training. How do you do it?
Yeah, so that's what we mean by making fitness accessible. So we allow clubs to deliver virtual training, so you don't have to live in a city with the club in there. Even if there is a club, you know, you take that stat, only 10% of people at a club get personal training. 90% say no to it because they can't afford it. So what we do is we allow fitness businesses to deliver online personal training, and that's a big trend we're seeing right now. So a club can give all their members, or anyone in the world, a branded fitness app. And on that app, the person can tell the club, hey, these are my goals, this is what I'm trying to do, these are the wearables I'm wearing, this is the information you can get access to, and then the club can design a workout program and deliver that program to the person directly on the smartphones. So our app allows people to deliver workout programming, nutrition programs, and also habit programs as well. So really that 360 wellness approach.
So really, you're creating, in essence, a brand new category of a fitness membership where there are a lot of people that can't afford to continue with the membership, and instead of losing that member, you're creating an opportunity for the club to still engage with the member as though they're part of the club and still having some income.
Yeah, that's right. And I really do think like gone are the days when that club wants that member who never uses the gym. The more engaged a person is with the club, the better the retention rates are. One of the stats we're most proud of at Trainerize, we have close to 1 million people getting trained right now with online training. People on Trainerize work out on average 3 times per week. And these are mostly people who were inactive once upon a time. And so you think about that, 3 times per week, that's a lot of times to hit the gym every single week for an entire year. And what drives that is the technology in our app combined with what wearables are doing to get people more active. And the club, they do what they do best. They give the content, which is the workout program. Let them focus on giving the workout program and let technology focus on the motivational aspect when it comes to online training.
You know, I used to hear, do you know what the best type of fitness center member is? One that pays but doesn't use it.
Yeah.
So now we have the opportunity to kind of help with that. Corey, I've got the device on. I use the 3M straps this morning. It's been on since about 7 o'clock. And tell me and tell the audience what this is doing right now as I'm sitting here.
Well, what it's capturing is, it's a 2-lead ECG, so it's capturing 250 samples a second of heart rate data. And the higher level of the data, the quality, the more information that can be derived from that. So in current status, we provide to you beat by beat analysis, the readout of every beat. We also provide stress analysis of both physical and emotional stress. But things that can come from the same data are sleep patterns, as well as biological age, health risks. These are the type of data the data exists that you can create this type of output. Ultimately, our goal is predictive wellness, to where when we gather enough data, we're able to produce something to help you know what to expect coming, not just what you did, but what's coming. The form factor is in such a way that, I don't know about, is it really noticeable to you, or did you kind of?
Well, it says my heart rate's extremely high. I must be nervous up here, but it says a good signal. Camera probably can't log into this, but it's got a heart rate up there, and it has the EKG.
Yeah.
Apple Watch came out, and that was the big thing with the EKG, and looking for AFib. Will this do that, or can you not do that because it's not FDA compliant?
Yeah, so that's our breaking point right now, is that we can present the data. FDA is something where you can get in trouble if you don't do it right. And so we're in the process of exploring that area. But right now it's the difference between, like, let's say an Apple Watch and what we do is they give you a snapshot. Ours is ongoing, so 24/7 full ECG data.
You said it was a 10-second, every 10 seconds is doing it?
No, like an Apple Watch is like 30 seconds, ours is 24/7, so it's beat by beat.
Got it.
Yeah, so it lasts about 3 days, so between charges you get about 110,000 heartbeats a day, comparative to maybe 2,000 or 3,000.
And I assume this is saved somewhere on the cloud. I can go back and look at it.
Yeah,
I also wanted to test it because I noticed with a lot of the apps, you keep it on, the battery life goes down, and it doesn't seem to have affected the battery life on my phone. Have you found anything like that?
well, if you keep it on with that real-time screen, you'll notice it.
Okay.
But it's also comparative to the amount of data that you're getting, right?
So do I need to have this on
No.
for it to be collecting the data?
No,
So
no.
I could turn it off, come back and look at it later?
Yeah, and you can walk away from your device because it stores whatever doesn't get sent to the phone anyway. And then when you come back, it'll sync it up.
Well, I'm looking down at Jim, and I took a couple of deep breaths, and my heart rate's down. It says it's not extremely high anymore. So
I have that calming presence on people.
thank you, Jim. Jim and I, from Under Armour, we shared a couple of funny stories this morning. Kevin Plank, the CEO of Under Armour, back in 2016, I thought was a brilliant statement, said that data is the new oil. I'm going to say Kevin coined it. Please tell him I said that, but you might have got it from somewhere else. But tell us what that means from an Under Armour perspective.
Yeah, first, we will definitely give him credit attribution for that. I'll make that known. Look, I think the idea is that the intelligence and the value that's coming out of that data is incredibly important. And I think the difference in 2016 or 2015 when we were talking about that was about getting information that has happened in the past of what you've done. And I think that Sharad mentioned it earlier, like the more powerful element is what we're starting to push towards is, okay, so tell me what to do in the future, right? And having that information that becomes more prescriptive, because as everybody on this panel knows, a big challenge is figuring out the right customized plan for yourself that will get the best results for you, whatever that is, whether it's losing 10 pounds on MyFitnessPal, or whether it's running a 7-minute, 6-minute mile on Map My Run. And I think what you're seeing is with the launch of, for example, our new connected shoe, that we have a chip embedded into the Hover Infinite shoe, is that this information is then coming back. It's providing real-time information to you when you run. We've isolated the metrics that are specific to running, not some general data. Right. That information is coming back and helping you get 5% better in 5 weeks. Which is significant for runners, but it's also doing things like preventing injuries and preventing fatigue that allows you in those other aspects of your life, recovery, sleep, fuel for the intake, again, as you talked about MyFitnessPal, that are all contributing to this health and wellness element. And I think where we're moving and what we've talked about is a whole lot of information looking at the past around fitness, and we're looking at now predictive elements for the future, but also incorporating these wellness components that people understand have such a big impact on performance.
At one point, Under Armour got into the wearable space, but now it kind of looks like you've taken a step back and you're looking for partners to do that with that big platform you have with the apps. How many users of the collective apps do you have now? And there's something about, okay, I've taken 10 million steps, so what? And a lot of the research that I did for my PhD work was looking at what I used to call these virtual high fives, these communities that people would create within these apps. They could be across the world, but we found that it was similar to sitting next to a person. How does Under Armour deal with that when it comes to those things?
So great question, Ted. Here are a couple of things. We have the largest health and fitness community in the world. It's 260 million registered users. The power of that is we provide a very large and specific community that motivates, that rewards, and helps get tangible results. I think when you're at CES and you're hearing specifically in marketing and advertising circles, experiences. Experiences are incredibly important, but it's the outcomes that are really the motivating factor. And so what we've done is we've taken elements that we have found from the data that if you are more highly engaged, if you're being recognized, if you have social circles that hold you accountable, if you gamify that system, that you have a far greater likelihood of achieving your goals. So our focus is making those communities as rich and rewarding social, motivational, accountability experiences as it is for tracking and the other data. And then to answer the first part of that, making wearables is really hard, right? And I think what we have discovered is the more that we can incorporate the sensors into the things that you already incorporate into your daily activities, the better off you are, right? It's just, there's less consumer friction into adopting those things. And then you're more likely to use them than if they provide the positive outcomes, it continues to reinforce that engagement model. So what we've done then is started to work with world-class experience and product people like Samsung with the Samsung Galaxy Watch that is connected directly into our hover platform and the connected shoes that provide real-time coaching. With JBL, with the wireless headphone speakers, again, all because of the data that's coming out of the community saying, here's a problem we have, like with the headphones. I don't want to be distracted by a cord or a wire while I run. How do we get rid of that? In having those components that are truly wireless. So hopefully that helps.
Great. Corey, you heard a little bit about it's difficult to build a wearable. I would consider this a wearable. Tell us a little bit about some of the challenges that you've had when it comes to creating this. And really, who's the end user? Is this something the physician's going to give somebody, or a health coach or a personal trainer to a client? What's the market?
Well, it was super challenging building it, I'll tell you that. I mean, there's a reason it's called hardware, because it's definitely hard. We opted to learn and become what I would believe is subject matter expert in the materials we're working with, because otherwise it's just too cost prohibitive to try to go into the wild blue yonder and know who to trust, when to go, and all the problems that I've heard other people do. So we manufacture ourselves, and it's been both rewarding and challenging. And you guys represent fitness and health. Our target was, if you kind of look at the spectrum, you've got those who are the health and fitness focused, and those who are the wellness and health risk. And not so much the middle. We're hoping to squeeze into the middle a little bit more, but our device is really a chest strap replacement. Everyone's worn a chest strap, and they're somewhat, they can be bothersome. Ours is strapless. There's a lot of big medical devices that people wear, halters that collect a lot of heart rate data, but they're bulky, they're not waterproof. Ours is not bulky and it's waterproof, right? So we've kind of sought to solve a couple problems on both ends.
I don't know if you can see, but that's the size of it, so I'd say it's...
I brought one, yeah.
Okay, good. I don't want to take my shirt off.
Well, never mind, let's do that. Yeah, so it's like this. It's just about an ounce. It does about 3 days worth of capturing data. Stores 7 days worth of data. It's really nice.
And then do you have the ability through APIs to pull that data out and perhaps go into a MyFitnessPal or a Fitbit or Apple Health, so you have all that information in one place?
Yeah, the technology's all there. The foundation's built. It's a matter of just which way we point the fire hose. Because there's a lot of data. I mean, comparative to a Fitbit or some of the more normal consumer-focused, broadly adopted, our data set is huge. It can be gigs and gigs of data for an individual for a month.
So where do you store all that?
Big providers, big AWS right now. So.
It must be amazing. I mean, how much data that really is.
It's a lot. I'm glad I'm not the tech guy.
Well, let's move down and talk to a tech guy. Sharad, you, from within the fitness industry, are offering something that really is disruptive. It's one of my favorite words, but disruptive not in a bad way, but in a good way. And tell us a little bit about some of the success stories that you've seen. And I know that you do some of these online challenges and you can pull some data in. Talk about that.
Yeah, sure. I'd say success stories would be the traction we're seeing. So we launched our product about 4.5 years ago. And in just 4.5 years, we have approximately 85,000 personal trainers delivering online training today. We have close to 3,000 health clubs providing virtual training today. We have close to 1 million members and people getting trained around the world from all these trainers and gyms as well. And on top of that, the biggest success is each day like today, or take yesterday, we get on average 60,000 workouts a day. So what that tells us is yesterday, 60,000 people worked out, and chances are good they would not have worked out if we didn't exist, because they have access to a personal trainer who's telling them exactly what to do, when to work out, and when they hit the gym, how to get the most out of that workout as well. And so I'd say these data points are our biggest drivers of success.
Apple and Google compliant, you can use
Yep.
either?
Yep, so our app is, there's an iPhone app, there's an Android smartphone app as well. The way we look at it actually is, so before Trainerize, we had another fitness app as well. It was a consumer fitness app. And we try not to get too married to technology, because what we want to do is we want to ride the digital fitness wave to what consumers are doing. So the last 5 years, yes, it was a smartphone app. So trainers and people through a smartphone. Now we're seeing wearables. That's going to be the thing for the next couple of years. After that, it might be home listening devices. People already are saying, hey, I'm at home right now. I just want to say, Alexa, what's my workout right now from Equinox? And start doing my workout by listening to it. 5 years from there, it could be virtual reality. We can VR into like group classes in gyms. So to answer your question, yes, it's an app for a phone today, but I can guarantee it will not be a smartphone app 5 to 10 years from now.
Yeah, it's something that Michael Yang talked about, and it's not that the hardware is not it's just a component of it. It's the human interaction pieces, which you've done with these are real personal trainers, I assume, anywhere in the world.
That's right.
Training people anywhere. You could train someone in Russia if you wanted to, yeah?
That's right, yeah. So we kind of take the intimidating side from technology out of the hands of the trainer in the gym. If you look at what they do best, they know how to motivate people to work out and get moving. What they're not strong at in the personal training space is anything to do with technology. So we take care of that, because it's going to change. It's changing all the time. Yeah. Even right now, we are testing listening devices to stream workouts to people's homes from a gym that could simply have that sent out to your house whenever you wanted it.
Tell me a little bit about the online challenges that you do. We thought about doing this, and one of the things that we found was I asked this question once of a provider. I said, what is a step? Because if you have an Apple Watch on, you have a Fitbit on, you're not going to get the same number. And their answer was a step is putting one foot in front of the other. I said, well, you can't quantify that. So how are you bringing in different data points that may not correlate, but then having some sort of competition on the back end?
Yeah, I'll answer it simply. For us, we call it personal bests. So you're right, it's not about that data point. As Jim mentioned earlier on too, like there are a lot of people right now getting motivated from like working out with friends and people, and think of it as like crowdsourcing challenges. Yeah. And so from an online challenge standpoint, there could be a whole bunch of people in there wearing Fitbit trackers, Apple Watches, an iPhone, an Android smartphone, different data points coming in. Those data points really don't matter, but it really matters when you hit a personal best. Right. You reached a goal, you surpassed a goal. That's the information we pipe into the online group. And people give high fives and cheers, and they feel more motivated now to work out tomorrow. So what we do is we tie the information to people's goals. And when they hit them, we give high fives and personal bests automatically. And we believe there is a role for AI as well in this space through bot-moderated challenges. And so that's how we try and drive motivation within groups too.
So, there's a challenge. You've got somebody like Jim who runs marathons or
Clearly.
Clearly. And then you've got people that are just trying to get off the couch. So you can't have those two types of people, saying how many steps they take, how many miles they, because it's not fair. Mm-hmm. So you found a way around that.
Yeah, I'd say it's by focusing on habits and people's goals. Because you're right, fitness. I may work out once a week. Jim may work out 4 times a week. It kind of sucks to compare the two of us in that way. But if I have a goal right now to drink 8 glasses of water a day, and I do that today, tomorrow, day after, I've now hit my goals 3 times in a week.
Right.
I'm equal to Jim now.
Right.
So just to add on to that, because I think we found the same thing, it's less important that you reach 10,000 steps or 6,000 steps or 15,000 steps or whatever that is, right, as a marker. It's more about establishing habitual behavior. The habitual behavior leads to healthier lifestyle over a period of time, and that increases as you continue with it.
Yep.
Artem. I want to know a little bit more about the technology around this and what motivated you to go off and to try to come up with a device that's going to measure the caloric intake. That's really probably one of the hardest things to track. It's what you eat. You know, I've seen apps where you take a picture of the food and it kind of calculates what it is, but how do you know what's underneath my cheeseburger? You know, what kind of cheese do I have? So this is really futuristic in that you're getting past that, and you're just looking at calories, and it's not. Can it tell me, like, if it's a fat or a carbohydrate or a protein or what?
If you talk about what motivated
Yes.
to do this thing, I guess already we start discussion regarding how difficult to change behavior. And maybe one of the crucial issue in this way to understand what is the current behavior. Because we have a very wrong imagination of what we are doing in reality. So we are doing very good things, but in reality it looks like not so good. And device like ours, I think is just only one in the long way. We can help our person to understand what really our person doing during the day. In our situation regarding the meal, physical activity, stress, sleep, why these parameters we choose, the same issue, to understand the habits patterns. So it is what we are trying to do.
So you're in essence a trailblazer, and sometimes people like shooting arrows at those trailblazers, and you know, you get online and a lot of people say this, you know, there's some questions about this. And I asked you a couple of weeks ago, and you just had a study come out, a white paper from UC Davis, yeah?
Yes, at the end of previous year, we finished a study in UC Davis and also in Guangzhou in China, in Red Cross Hospital as well. And right now, yes, we have a white papers from UC Davis with the result of our validation study. And to us, it is a very important step because, as you mentioned in the beginning of your speech, it looks like futuristic. So,
yeah.
And during our work, every time we got the questions, is it real or is just something like fairy tales? So, yes, it is a real thing, and right now we have proof of this. So, I guess it's only one step because we got validation regarding intake calories. As well, we got validation regarding the hydration function. And in the next year, this year, right now, we also we will work with stress.
So this will tell me if I'm dehydrated.
Yes, yes.
And it'll prompt me through some prompts, you drink some water or whatever.
Yes, exactly. But we have to take in mind, it's the same like with intake calories.
Right.
Because we think, okay, if I eat something, it digested immediately
Right.
with accurate calories which we see in the pack. But in the reality, it's not the same.
Right.
The same situation with hydration. When we want to drink, it is a very late stage because we lost at least 2% of our water in our body. And when we start drinking, our body just splits this water inside. And we need to continue drinking.
Absolutely.
And every time when you see this drink here is a signal, if you right now drink a little bit, it will be more helpful than you will drink a bottle after. So it looks like this.
So you and I are going to go out tonight, and it's going to tell us when to drink.
Yeah,
We can do
exactly.
that. I've heard today talking about the FDA, and really we have two groups that are concerned about the FDA, two groups that aren't. So, Corey, are you going towards the FDA? Are you concerned with what could happen with your product? What does the FDA have to do with what you're doing?
So FDA is primarily just something that is necessary for the medical community to be able to recommend it for medical purposes. All of our, like for our device, We've used FDA standards in our manufacturing, in all of our analysis, as a benchmark for everything we're doing. And so until we actually sell into that community where healthcare providers are recommending it, actually charging for it, that's where FDA is necessary. So we're heading that direction. It's just not fast or cheap.
So once the FDA approves your technology, then a doctor could use it and be reimbursed through insurances?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to bring it down to just the money, but primarily it's a reimbursement thing.
Got it.
I
got
mean,
it.
there's some legal.
Oh, there's always legal with the
Yeah,
government.
the legal stuff, but it primarily it's just the reimbursement part.
Now, Artem, are you going down that FDA path as well?
Yes, we also need to go to this way. Mostly, if you look to our business, B2C part is only one way. B2B is also very important and maybe most important thing in our next 1 to 3 years. And FDA approval, of course, is very important to us because it gives us enough credibility and proof for the B2B contracts.
And are most of your customers in the States or the Europe, or is it a combination?
It's split between Asia, mostly China and Japan, and the US. So it's like 50-50.
So does having FDA approval in the States help you in those other countries?
Yes, you know, maybe it's not surprised you, but if you have a good result and
Good results
good results in US, it helps you in any another country because US right now is just like a gold standard for every country, especially regarding the quality of product. So it is very important to us, of course.
So just out of interest, is it, if you get approved within China and Japan, does it help in the US for the FDA to have those other?
No.
No, figures.
No. It's only one way.
That's only one way. Jim and Sharad, I'm guessing FDA isn't something that you're losing sleep over.
No, not FDA. Definitely not losing sleep over that. But what I'd say is, for us, is more about personal trainers being certified to be actual personal trainers, because anyone can be an online trainer today. Anyone can find an online trainer too. And so one of our challenges is, sure, we have 85,000 personal trainers. How do we make sure that the 85,000 trainers are delivering quality workouts? They're certified. They're staying certified as well. That's one of our challenges. When we look at the space of clubs, and we've sold into a couple of hospitals too, HIPAA compliance is something that does come up here and there, but right now it's not as much as really making sure that the trainers that use Trainerize are personal trainer certified.
So you said something that is music to my ears, and you talked about a certified personal trainer. You're right. You can go on the back of a muscle and fitness magazine, answer 25 questions, and call yourself a certified personal trainer. But there are certain accredited organizations that are out there trying to do, what's right. Just because Jimmy was the high school quarterback doesn't mean that he knows how to treat somebody with hypertension or obesity or depression. So you are actually looking for those certified trainers?
Well, we let any personal trainer come in. But in terms of us promoting personal trainers through our portal, we try and make sure, hey, these are the ones that are certified. You can pick and choose who you want. One comment about that, though. So the challenge we actually face is yes, you've got the certification organizations that have the well-known certifications, but take Habits, for example. One of the best companies in the world, in our view, is a company called Precision Nutrition. And they have PN certification. But they're not an official certification, right? So where do they kind of fall into play when you compare ACE versus PN?
Right. And Jim, FDA's.
Yeah, no, that's not a concern of ours. I think what we've set up is a cadre of experts, right? We have an army of nutritionists, exercise scientists. And we have our own training network because we have a very specific training philosophy, led by our head of performance training, Paul Winsper. We feel like if we have those elements that are providing tremendous value back, expertise, that following proven philosophies, that's the value we provide back.
We were talking earlier about the sleep technology that Under Armour, was it last year, and Tom Brady came out. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we don't think that you can have a complete and maximize your training or your performance with just focusing on the workout, right? The training element. So much of that is fuel, so much of that is recovery, so much of that is sleep. And so, our focus on recovery and fuel and sleep has become really intense over the past year or so. And it was a year or 18 months ago with our launch of Tom Brady, which is as most of you know, is continued to play at an unbelievable MVP level.
Right.
Well into his 40s, where you're not seeing that have ever historically happened in the NFL, and he attributes a lot of that to the speed to recovery in his sleep. And so, we worked very, very closely with Tom and his team on developing this recovery sleepwear. And I have to tell you that when you first see it, and you said to yourself, like, okay, well, how would this really work? I'm telling you, try it, and you're a believer. I mean, it's the only way I make it through Vegas, literally.
So you just wear it. It's like the old Ron Popeil, set it and forget it. You put it on, you forget it, you go to sleep.
And all of that helps you ultimately recover faster, which allows you to begin your training routine more quickly.
We've got I want to ask one more question that leaves some time. I had an interesting talk last night at dinner, and I was asked the question, where is this space, the fitness technology, going to be in 20 years? So Artem, what do you think? 20 years from now, is the product going to look the same? Is it going to be different? What is it?
I guess product will be changing dramatically. First of all, right now, if you talk about the wearables, mostly form factor is something like watches. I guess it's changing from one side. It will be some like internal sensors, mostly. And another one, I guess, is smart textile. So
Textiles.
I guess it will be a very big future. Not right now, but if you look to 20 years, yes. And another one aspect, I guess, it is very important. It is very important to the wearables at all, because right now we don't have a strong business model. Because if you want to sell something like hardware, the economy is very poor.
Right.
But if you look to another business model right now, wearables don't give good results in any of them. So I guess in the future, wearables give a profit like a tool to save the money. Save the money for medicine, save the money for the fitness services, save the money for the wellness at all. So I guess it will be in the future.
Now, Sharad, you kind of said something earlier about Alexa and the future of that. What do you think is going to be in 20 years?
20 years from now, I think it'll be kind of removed past like one bracelet on your wrist and really integrated into every part of your life. So digital fitness will be something that helps you live a better life daily. What does that mean? 20 years from now, you wake up and you literally know what to do every single moment of the day. You have a water bottle, it starts flashing when you want to drink water. That 8th class, 7th class, that's right. The pillow's tracking everything. Your clothing is getting all the information from you. The shoe, it's a standard thing. Every shoe right now is tracking everything, every step you take. So I think that really, this concept of digital fitness will propagate into everything we feel and touch, and it'll be a part of you 24 hours a day, not just when you wear that one device in your hand or when you check into an app a couple of times a day.
Corey, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the Invisibles is kind of the next.
The Invisibles.
Yes, where it's around or near the body, not so much worn closely to the body. We have a bit of a different risk right now, where we have data that's being captured by a variety of different input devices, a lot of different really neat looking devices, but the quality is so questionable that the results are not really valuable, and then thus people are depending on these things. So there's a bit of I think we're going to go through a morph where the data that exists today will be changed, and then adopting will become newer, more useful data that isn't really something that's stuck to you, even though that's what our device does, it sticks to you. Hopefully we can be a part of the thing that's next, where it's off the body.
Jimmy, you want something quick before we ask you
questions?
questions?
I mean, the only thing I'd add to those two things, I think the two interesting things are, I think that people will have a better understanding of the trade-offs and behaviors and indulgences, right? And so, like, you can do that. and this is what that will mean, and having very tangible ramifications. And then I think the other interesting element is where all that data sits ultimately, who's controlling that,
Right.
and how do consumers feel about who has access to it.
I think we have time for one, maybe two questions. Would anyone have a question for our panel?
And this is for the whole panel, but obviously kind of geared towards elite athletes. So you got Tom Brady, you got Steph Curry. Are there any, how are the devices or consumer devices, is any of that derived from what these elite athletes are doing or what they're looking for?
Yeah, a great question. So yes, like for us, we have a performance center in Portland, Oregon that is run by the gentleman I mentioned before, Paul Winsper, and it is focused on training the world's most elite athletes, whether it be a sprinter, whether it be a swimmer, or whether it be a world-class quarterback. And then what we're trying to do is take the insights that matter out of that and then democratizing them. Right, and figuring out ways that we can take elements of there and giving normal people access to this in their daily life.
I got permission to ask one more question. Anyone?
Well, I have a question if no one's going
Go right
to
ahead.
ask a question. How do you guys foresee the integration of wearables and guided instruction to increase movement and exercise among the hundreds of millions of Americans who aren't exercising, and making it affordable for them by combining guided instruction and wearables? How do you foresee that happening in the next 2 to 3 years?
That was 2 questions.
Who wants that one? Sure, I'll give that one to you.
Take a quick stab at it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in our idea, it's kind of what we're trying to do is make fitness accessible, make personal training affordable. Personal training is $80 to $100 an hour. People training on Trainerize, giving online training, they bring their rates down from $10 a month to $40 a month for customized training programs. So I think the role wearables will play is giving information to people who can do something with it. And also the role wearables play is motivating people to get up and show up. And then once you actually show up, now the personal trainer gives you a customized program to do something that makes sense based on your body type or your goals. And that can be affordable. It is already affordable today.
I guess it's really important, if it's possible, I would like to add one comment. I guess it is very, very important because we have to promote idea that change not be very fast. Because every time when somebody start doing exercise or start using any type of diet, expecting immediate result, like, okay, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and the result will be here. But in reality, if you gain weight during the 10 years, so you have to spend 10 years to lost this body weight.
Exactly.
No any another way to do it. And if everybody will understand it, it will be very helpful. Because in this case, we will get a person who understands that every day efforts have to be done.
Well, I'd like to thank the panelists. We'll be in the back. If you have any questions, we'll ask you to take the conversation outside. But thanks very much. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.